Hello there! Today I'm gonna cover the cards that go out of Battlegrounds and the cards that will replace them, the new cards. We're not talking about change cards or cards that we had in the past and come back. Just new cards and the cards that go out. Let's start with the cards that go out. It's a very, very long list. I think it's 63 cards. Blizzard sent me the list of the cards. I'm gonna just read them and then comment on the major ones. No more Battler. Good. No more Irel. No more Strong Shell. No more Rendell. Menagerie Jug. Saloon Dancer, Living Constellation, Walking Fort. So they cut a lot of the neutrals. In a way, that's good. In a way, they will definitely need to fill in the gaps. Like, they have to do something for towns. They have to do something for Scam. They have to do something for... You get me. Motley Phalanx, Mad Matador, Mantid Queen. This is why I mentioned Scam, because Matador and Queen are going out, which I really like. I got kind of bored of the cards. They're cool, but yeah. They were a little bit too much. Cogwork Copter, Hunter of Gatherers, Legion Overseer, Mecha Jaraxxus, Emergent Flame, Silent Swimmer, Sore Loser, Hawkstrider Herald, Blizzard ate the Chicken, Dancing Barnstormer, Mana Saber, Hungry Snapjaw, Sewer Rat, Hummingbird, Free Flying Feathermane. Beasts are losing a lot of their tools. Kind of crazy. Eagle, Mystic Sporebat, Mama Bear, and there's a caveat. Before they remove Mama Bear, they're also gonna buff her. Why? For Papa Bear. So they're buffing Mama Bear just for Papa Bear, and then they're removing her. I think this change makes a lot of sense and shows the attention to detail that they have. Banana Slammer also going away. I think it's gonna make a lot of people happy. This card was like way too good for way too long. I personally liked it, especially as a 5-drop. I think it was balanced, but sometimes could be broken. So yeah. Good to see it go away. Then we have Dreadbeard Imprisoner, Twilight Emissary, Emerald Protowhelp, Bronze Sandspewer, so like most of the dragons. Smolderer, Sandstone Drake, Peckish Feldrake, Razargor, Nether Drake. Razargor and Nether Drake specifically, they're like kind of boring, I don't know. I'm happy they go away. Warpwing, I kind of liked Warpwing, but hey. Ignition Specialist also going away. So dragons are getting a revitalized engine. I see they still keep Kalecgos. I guess Kalecgos is like the OG dragon that they want to keep in the game. Makes sense. Master of Realities, Micromami, Lighter Fighter, Kangaroo's Apprentice, Greasebot, Omega Buster, Mercules, Wayward Grimscale, Filthy Navigator, Poshmar the Vengeful, Critter Wrangler, Surf and Surf. Oh, miss Surf and Surf. South Sea Busker. So they're cutting the economy too. Greta Goldgun, Bloodsail Cannoneer, Audacious Anchor, Briarback Bookie, Bristleback Knight, Pain Smudger, Corpse Refiner, Steadfast Spirit, and Grave Gobbler. A lot of changes. And I see that some tribes are more targeted than others. Like Quilboar are kind of targeted. Beasts, Dragons. They're losing a lot of their units. Should be interesting. Should be very, very interesting. So, let's get right into the cards that they are adding. These are new cards that they will add to Battlegrounds. Starting off at 1-drops, we have Cord Puller, which is a mech 1-1 Divine Shield, Dev Rattle, summon a 1-1 Microbot. So it's a 1-1 Divine Shield that summons a 1-1. So basically, it's a 1 attack 3 times. So it's gonna lose to something that is a 1-4, but it's gonna tie with a 2-3. Interesting. It's a little bit close to Micromami, although I think a bit weaker than that. But combos really well with Micromami. Let's not forget, the fact that it's a Divine Shield means that if you buff it, you're gonna get a lot of value from it. A lot of value from buffing the Divine Shield. Then we have Misfit Dragonling. Start of combat, gain stats equal to your tier. I like this a lot. I think it's a very powerful card because it's basically a 2-3 on 1, and then it's a 3-4, a 4-5. It's good to keep around and to help you in the combat, but later on you can just cut it and not feel bad about it. We also have Gleam Guardian, which is kind of like Glyph Guardian, but a bit more dark blue. Looks cool though. Whenever this attacks, gain +2/+1. So if this attacks, it becomes a 3-4. Kind of good. I think it's gonna be like a really powerful 1-drop. Just for the fight. I don't think it loses too much. It loses if opponent has a 3-2 and attacks you directly. Talking about that, Shadow. 3-2 undead. No effect. That's it. This could be a token, but I'm not sure. Probably not. In this folder of 1-drops, there's also a card called Silver Fledgling, but this card seems too bad to be a 1-drop. And from looking at other cards, a little bit, I just glanced over them. I think it's a summon. We'll see a bit later. 2-drops. We have a crazy one to start things off. They are releasing Ziliax to Battlegrounds. And the way they're making Ziliax is they make a lot of modules that you can combine together into a triple. The finalized Ziliax is called Ziliax Assembled. And I think it has all the free adaptations that the pieces you used had. Let's go into it. So there's one that has Taunt and is a 4/3. One has Reborn, same stats. One has Divine Shield. Another one has Stealth. Another one has Wind Fury. And now another one has Magnetic. What that means, I think, is you can use the Magnetic one to triple, let's say, with the Divine Shield and Reborn. And then your finalized Ziliax is also going to be a Magnetic. And then you can take it and put it on another minion. So you're going to be able to give any adaptation to any mech, given you get over the right cards. So you can go like Stealth, Reborn, Divine Shield. Oh no, you cannot. It's only 2 plus Magnetic, sorry. You can go like Stealth, Divine Shield, Magnetic. Or Reborn, Divine Shield, Magnetic. It's gonna go pretty crazy. So it's an interesting card. What I'm wondering is about the offering rate. Like, I'm assuming every single piece of Ziliax shows up less often than like a normal card, right? Because otherwise, you would go Tavern 2 and like the only thing you see is like Ziliax parts. I think that would be too broken, right? Moving on, we have a very hungry Winter Finner. 2-star, 2/5, Taunt, Murloc. Whenever this takes damage, give a minion in your hand +1/+1. I like it. It's kind of like a Mercules, but a bit different. Kind of nice. I like it. Fair. It's also capped by its stat line. Here we have Silver Goose, which is the card that summons the one that we were talking about earlier. Whenever this takes damage, summon a 2/2 Fledgling with Taunt. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Decent card. It's gonna give Beast power on 2, but then you're still gonna have to replace it a bit later. I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you can just buff it and like... No, it summons 2/2s. We also have a neutral, Fire Dancer. Dev Rattle, deal 1 damage to all the minions. Kind of like a Tunnel Blaster at home. I don't like the card too much. I think it's gonna be decent in some situations, but very, very situational. And we also have a Rooster. Start of combat, deal 1 damage to ADSN minions and give them +4 attack. Not bad. Not bad at all. I think it's gonna be like a 2-drop crazy card. I like it. Again, just for like the early game. It seems like they're moving towards a lot of the 1 and 2 drops being good for the early game. You know, as they should be. And not like becoming carries later on. But we'll see. Maybe some of the cards still have potential, like Ziliax, let's say. Moving on to 3 drops. Shell Whistler. Naga, 3/2. Battlecry, get a random tavern spell from tier 2. I like it a lot. You're getting a minion and you're getting a spell. It's a random spell though, but it's a tier 2 spell. Usually they're like 2 gold, but you can high roll and get something that's worth 3 gold. You can low roll and get a 1 gold. It's fine. Time Captain Hooktail. A dragon and a pirate. 1/5. Whenever you cast a tavern spell, give your other minions 1 attack. Give your other minions. I would have liked it if he also buffed itself. It's not a terrible card. It's a little bit light on the effect. And a little bit light on its own stats. Obviously, it's going to be really good if you get 2 of them. Because then they're going to buff each other. But I'm a little bit reserved when it comes down to this card. Hateful Hag. Whenever this attacks, give the minion to the right of this Reborn. Any minion. So it's an undead that can give anyone a Reborn. Wow. Sick. I think this card is going to have mad potential. False Implicator. At the end of your turn, consume a minion in the tavern to gain its stats. I like it. End of turn hit a minion is a lot better than Battlecry hit a minion. Also less abusable, but just better on average. And it's gonna incentivize you to buff the shop as much as you can. Bristling Buffoon. Whenever this takes damage, get a Blood Gem. 3 times per combat maximum. I like it, but the stat line is kind of tiny. You need to buff it a bit for it to be good. But I like it as a generator. It's a good active generator during the fight. Then we have Rampager. Whenever this attacks, deal 1 damage to your other minions. Because it's a 3-star 8/8. Makes sense. So it's gonna be really good to go 3-on-3. And then buy Rampager to stabilize. And then you build something else. Also, you can put it in the back. Just have it as your last minion, so it doesn't attack that much, and then have your opponent attack into it, maybe even taunt it. Great card, I like it a lot. Roaring Rallier. Whenever a friendly dragon attacks, give it +2/+2. I like the card. It's kind of like a Rip Snarl for dragons. Maybe 3/4 is a bit low on the stats and can get sniped, but if you have a dragon start, this is a good follow-up. Especially since it gives them health as well. City-Teed Borrower. It's a 3/1 taunt beast. Dev Rattle, give your beast +1/+1 permanently. Okay. Maybe there are gonna be some combos with that. I cannot imagine being super happy to have my beasts super buffed. But we'll see. Slimy Fellblood. Minions in the tavern have +2 health this game. Okay. I don't see Elemental on the removed card list. So unless they change the Elemental effect, then this is just in addition to Elemental. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, I'm sure there's going to be some ways to buff the shop because that's how demons play. They made demons play around that, so they have to give them some tools to do that. And I don't know if this is enough, but if this is an addition, if this is like something extra, really good. Oh, then we have Fiery Fellblood. Minions in the shop have +3 attack this game. Okay, so basically, I think they're gonna replace Elemental with 2 different minions. That one buffs the attack, one buffs the health. So that you're more incentivized to roll with economy, I assume, and buy them, rather than have one and like Rylek it and reborn it like people are playing nowadays. We'll see what dynamics we're gonna have for shop buffing, and if they're powerful enough. The cards have a lot of potential, but we need to see all the card pool to be able to like predict exactly how powerful buffing is gonna be. But we know that they kind of want buffing to be the demon direction. And now, last but not least, Morgul MK2 has a very experimental name. Mech Murloc, Avenge 3/4, give minions in your hand and board +1/+1 permanently. Wow, pretty strong for an Avenge 3. I like it a lot. And it's buffing your board and your hand. I mean, maybe the effect is not going to be that good because it doesn't buff the shop. It only buffs your board and your hand. It could be okay for a bit. Maybe I'm underestimating it. It's a card that's like super hard to rate. We'll see. Let's go to 4 drops. I'm going to start with the crazy neutral. Assistant Guard basically replaces Strong Shell. And in what a way it replaces their Strong Shell. Give a minion taunt, then give your taunt minions +2/+3. So 2 in 1. You give taunt and you buff the taunts. That's crazy good for a 4-drop. But maybe taunts needed this. A card like this. It's a really good card. What happens if you play this with Bran? You're gonna give a minion taunt, then you give 2 free, then you untaunt, and then you give 2 free to do your remaining taunts. It's kind of funny. I like it. Card is great. We also have an all minion, Winged Chimera. Whenever this takes damage, give a friendly minion of each type +2/+1. Only during the fight. I mean, it's an all type, so it's very easy to buff. The idea, I think, is gonna be buffing it and then putting it early. And then if you can give it like Divine Shield or like Poison, you can go even crazier. Card is interesting for sure. And again, it opens up a lot of possibilities because it has an all type. Cards with all have notoriously been very, very good. But it also depends on the card pool. Soft-Hearted Siren. 3/6 Naga. Whenever this takes damage, get a random spellcraft spell. 3 times per combat max. I like it. Get a random spellcraft. I mean, it's not great. It's kind of like a Poshmark. So it's like a little bit better Poshmark, maybe. But maybe not, because she has to like take the damage and survive. You can take damage and die and still get a spellcraft. So worst case, you still get 1 spellcraft. Question is, how good is that? And don't you want a little bit more consistency? Gold Shell Warden. Beast, Battlecry, give your other beast +1/+4. Okay. Why are we getting beast cards that buff the stats? Is something happening? Like, on its own doesn't seem that crazy. I had to see a little bit more cards to be able to like tell what the beasts are gonna use the stats for. Iridescent Sky Blazer. Whenever a friendly beast takes damage, give a friendly beast other than it +1/+1 permanently. That's a lot of like beast combo. And it's gonna try to get a lot of stats. This Sky Blazer guy is gonna be like a really good card to buff and then put into the back of your composition and then have your other beasts just buff each other. Persistent Poet. Very funny card art. It's a 2/3 dragon divine shield that says DSN dragons permanently keep the combat enchantments. Spicy. Spicy, spicy, spicy. We also have Nightbane, which is an undead dragon. 6/3, taunt Dev Rattle. Give 2 random friendly minions. These minions' attack. So basically, you want to have it as the first thing that dies in the combat, and then you buff the rest of your board, and you try to like buff Divine Shields ideally. I like it. And for example, it's gonna combine very well with the Poet, where you can permanently keep the attack on some of the minions if you're lucky enough to hit them. Crafty Aranasi is a 1/8 demon. Whenever this takes damage, deal 5 damage to a random enemy minion. I see that they're doing a lot of cards that are whenever this takes damage. This mechanic can be good. It can also be like frustrating if you don't get enough effects from it. It can also be annoying. We'll see how it plays out. But generally, I think it's okay that you at least get the effect once, no matter what. Unless the minion gets destroyed somehow, it's gonna take damage at least once. So it's not that bad, right? I think it's gonna be a good mechanic overall. We also have a pirate, Long John Copper. What a name. So now I cannot call the Cleave guy John anymore, because we actually have a John as a pirate. Thank you, Blizzard. Whenever this takes damage, get a gold coin. And again, the whenever this takes damage effect, I like it. Like, if it gives you 1 coin, it's already like okay. If it gives you 2 coins, it's great. 3 coins is way too much, but let's think of it as at least 1 coin, maybe 2 coins. Good card then. I like it a lot. Obviously, I'm talking if you get it early, start buffing it, stuff like that. We have some more 4-drops. Draconic Death Scale is a Naga Dragon with Spellcraft, trigger a friendly minion's battle cry. Wow. This can be very powerful. I like it a lot. And that's it for 4-drops. Let's move to 5-drops. Let's start off with some neutrals. We have Moon-Eater's Champion. 7/8. After you play an odd tier card, give your other odd tier minions +1/+1. Wow. Okay. Odd and even coming to Battlegrounds. And it says card, so you can play spells as well. You can play 1-cost spells. That's very powerful because if you can somehow get yourself in a position where you have Millhouse's body, and you can just like buy 1-cost spells and cycle them, and then buff your board with this guy. Can be a crazy combo if you manage to pull it off. And then we have Unforgiving Treant, which is whenever this takes damage, give your minions +1 attack permanently. I kind of like it. Permanent +1 attack to all the minions. It says your minions, so like your future minions as well, I think. Or is it your board minions? I don't know. Either way, I think it's an interesting card, worth exploring. It's gonna be super bad to get it as a late game tech. It's gonna be one of the cards that you want to discover as early as possible to start getting the value out of it as early as possible. Most of the whenever this takes damage cards are like this. Let's continue with the tribe minions. We have Charging Zarina, mech for 2 Divine Shield. Whenever you cast a Tavern spell, give your minions with Divine Shield +3 attack. I kind of like this a lot. It's gonna incentivize mechs to go Divine Shields and then just cast spells to build around the Zarina. I think it's a very powerful card. Get this early, you can go pretty crazy, right? Marine Matriarch, 3/9 Elemental. Whenever this takes damage, get a random Tavern spell. Ooh. 3/9 is also really good. I like it. I think this is going to be a great card to discover altogether. It might incentivize people to just go for 5-drops. Card's great. Card is really great. Any card that prints Tavern spells is generally great. And this has a 3/9 body. Trigor is a 6/2 beast. Not the best stats. Whenever another friendly beast takes damage, gain +2 health permanently. Ooh, okay. So it's gonna be a beast that wants to get buffed. But then let's say it gets buffed, it's still just the big minion. Doesn't have cleave, doesn't have anything. I saw the 3 heads here, and I was like, okay, this guy is gonna have a cleave. So I don't really have that high hopes for this card, but we'll see. Spiked Savior, taunt 12/4. Dev Rattle, deal 1 damage to your minions and give them 1 health. Wait, what? Oh, so this is to trigger the effects of whenever this takes damage. I was like, why would you want to do that? It's just for whenever this takes damage type of effects. Seems a bit niche, so I don't know if it's going to be that good. Yulon 8-8 Dragon looks really cool. Start of combat, make your lowest tier minion golden. Only for the combat, of course. So you will want to get the lowest tier minion that has a good combat effect or ability and make that golden. I don't know what combos you could go for, but card has potential, good stats. We also have an elemental naga called Shelemental. Choose a spellcraft, choose a minion in the tavern, give its stats to a random friendly minion. I like it a lot. I think it's a good buff. And it's permanent buff. I like it. I think it's a very powerful spellcraft. We needed something like this in the game. We also got a 5-star spell. 6 gold is the cost. Choose a friendly minion from tier 4 or below. Make it golden. Wow. And you can also target the shop. That's why it's 6 gold. And there's another spell, also expensive, 5 gold. Discover a minion from tavern tier 6. 5 gold for a 6? I mean, 4 gold would be too good. 5 is a bit pricey, but sometimes you might pay the price just to stay a bit more on Tavern 5. Interesting card. I wonder if it's overcosted or just properly priced. And last but not least, let's move to Tavern 6. We have one neutral minion, Greymane's Champion. Is Greymane like a family? Like, I know Tess is Greymane. Anyways, after you play an even tier card, give your other even tier minions +2/+2. So the even card is not on the same tier as the odd card. Oh, wait. Because 5 is odd, 6 is even. Okay, I'm stupid, sorry. Makes sense. I'm actually curious if these guys are going to be good enough to see play. Maybe they're going to see play for like 1 or 2 turns. I don't know if they're going to be like engines. They could be. I'm interested. I'm hyped. We have Pokey, Torn Mantle, 4/5 Quillbore. End of your turn, your blood gems give an extra +1/+1 this game. Wow. Wow. That is an end of turn effect. This is what Quillbore needed. This guy is trying to feed fish to a Murloc. He's gonna just buff the gems in a very aggressive way. And I'm all for it. Hoarding Hate Spawn is a 10/10 dragon. Start of combat, steal 10/10 from the highest health enemy minion. I mean, if you take 10/10 and that minion dies, it dies, right? Oh, but that's why it's targeting the highest health. I mean, it's a crazy good card in the beginning. I don't know how good it's scaling. It doesn't seem to scale that great. And it's probably worse than Warpwing. Not sure I like it that much. For Undead, we have the Uninvited Guest. 3/2, start of combat, give your other minions Dev Rattle, summon a 3/2 Shadow. So I guess this also covers the Shadow card that we talked about earlier. So the Shadow card is not going to be a 1-drop on itself. It's a spawn. So actually, the only 1-drops we get are the 2 dragons and the mech. So it gives your minions summon a 3/2 Shadow. Okay. Doesn't seem that great. But maybe I'm underestimating it. So, at best, it's gonna give 6 other minions to summon a 3/2 Shadow. The Shadow is an undead, as we saw. If you're able to buff it, you can do some pretty good combos. I'm afraid that you might already have minions that summon minions, and then giving them the Shadow is not gonna summon the Shadow, or he's not gonna summon the other part of the thing. This card doesn't scream broken to me. But let's see how it plays out when it releases. Untamable. Great name. Great name. Mech Beast, whenever this takes damage, gain Divine Shield. Whenever. No limit. Wow. That's a card. That's a card. And it's going to be good for Beasts as well because you're going to be able to buff it. But mechs also want to play it and buff it. What a card. Probably is going to be one of the best 6 drops. Just from like a bulky perspective and being annoying perspective. Anyways, I'm super hyped. The cards look super good. Now we need to just see what cards they're going to change from the current pool and what cards they're going to bring back from the past. But the new cards are exciting. And even though some pretty cool cards go out, I think change, freshness is always good and always appreciated. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the last changed cards and then to make an idea about the meta game. See you in the next video.